News with Mitsumi Takahashi.
Good evening. Moving day is Wednesday, and over 3,000 households still have nowhere to go. The vacancy rate here is up, but not for units people can afford. In fact, a new report finds that Montreal and Quebec City rank last in the availability of affordable housing among all North American cities. Meanwhile, for those who have managed to find a new place to move to, Environment Canada has issued a heat warning that could peak on moving day. Here's Christine Long.
It's a tough job, even in reasonable temperatures.
Get a heat wave smack during the busiest moving week is very tough on our guys.
Just in time for moving season, meteorologist Simon Legault says this week will be summer's first heat wave.
We expect temperatures to go above 30 degrees, maybe 32, 33 is possible. Humidex above 40 is again possible.
Meldrum the Mover has been in business for decades. Co-owner Josh Schwartz has tips on how to best manage your move in high heat.
Lots of bottles of water, lots of Gatorades, lots of the proper foods, not too salted food, too many salted foods. You want a lot of fruits, a lot of stuff, a lot of sugars to keep you hydrated and energized throughout the heat wave.
Limit the time spent moving heavy furniture and watch your friends for signs of overheating.
We expect impact on the population because of the heat, the exhaustion that comes with that, and all the stress that is on the body.
Schwartz adds that more hands makes for lighter work for all, so get as many helpers as possible.
We will add extra crew members to the job, and just to make sure to alleviate a bit of the stress to their days.
Legault adds, take breaks when you can.
In the shaded area, indoor with some air conditioning, if you can take a dip in a pool, something like that, that will help your body to relieve a little bit of that heat stress.
To make sure that those who do have to move do so safely. Christine Long, CTV News.
Meanwhile, the City of Montreal says it will offer interest-free loans for tenants who are struggling to pay their rent. The mayor says the plan is to allow 150 households to access up to $5,000 in loans. It would be repayable over 5 years. Moving day is July 1st, and people are still looking for a new place to live.
The request they have right now is about 500 families. The important issue is making sure that in the long term, we're putting in place the social net that we need in order to prevent people getting into the streets. I know that this 2 days notice from the 1st of July is not the sole solution, but it is one that we'll put in place in the future in order to not lose anybody.
The mayor says Montreal is the first city in Quebec to do this and hopes to see other cities follow suit. There's going to be a new housing project for the Vaudreuil-Soulanges area. The Premier was in Saint-Lazare this morning for the announcement.
It is important to underline the fact that this project is the result of a strong partnership, a partnership between the Government of Quebec, the Government of Canada, also the City of Saint-Lazare and Desjardins, and local stakeholders.
There will be 45 affordable housing units, among them units for people with reduced mobility. It's an $18 million project. It's expected to be completed in the fall of 2028.
The crisis is increasing years after years. For the moment, we have approximately between 25 and 30 families who are looking for urgent housing for the 1st of July. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of solutions for them for the moment. We're gonna try to help them as much as we can.
Vaudreuil-Soulanges is said to have one of the lowest rates of social and affordable housing in the province. People in Saint-Henri say they've had it with the drug injection site in their neighborhood. They say it's not safe for seniors or for the children, and that the situation has gone from bad to worse. Here's Denise Roberts.
On a hot summer's day, Victor Rousselot Park is nearly empty. And for good reason, according to Saint-Henri residents Michael McKenzie and Renaud Muller.
This is largely empty all day, every day of the summer because it's not safe.
Next door is La Maison Benoit Labre, which has the city's first supervised injection site. It's become a source of contention in the neighborhood since it opened 2 years ago. Residents say children have been exposed to violence, sexual acts, and drug use.
It's out of control. It's completely out of control. And I think it poses a danger to the user of the center and the community back.
When the center opened, a cohabitation committee was set up to improve relations with the neighborhood. Parent Sarah Al-Casey was a member.
We were able to bring to the attention of the committee members incidents that happen.
But she says the committee has changed hands and communication has waned. That's why more than 1,800 residents of Saint-Henri have signed a petition calling on all levels of government to intervene.
We need a plan in the short term to help make our neighborhoods safe again. And we need medium and long-term plans to help people get the services that they need so that no one is dealing with these issues.
The petition was spearheaded by Mackenzie, a child psychologist and father.
People have a right to mental health care. People have a right to substance use treatment. But people don't have a right to harm other people. And compassionate communities can set boundaries about behavior that harms other people.
Under Social Services Minister Lionel Carman, a law was passed to keep safe consumption sites at least 150 meters away from schools and daycares. Under that law, Maison Benoit Labre must relocate its injection site, but says it needs time and funding to do so.
So Minister Carman has it in his authority today to revoke that transition period, and that's what we're asking it to do.
CTV News did not hear back from Lionel Carman nor the Maison Benoit Labre by airtime. But Montreal's mayor says the issue is on her radar.
I know that the government of Quebec has asked them to move the consumption site to a better location, and I know that that's what they're working on.
To find a solution that works for everyone. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
2 children are dead in what police are calling a double murder-suicide. The bodies of the children were found in a home in Ottawa. The body of the children's father was found in a vehicle just south of that city. Josh Morano reports.
Investigators spent much of the day at this home in Findlay Creek where 2 children were found dead. Police say a second scene in Kemptville is also central to the investigation. According to residents, police arrived on scene around 10 a.m. Monday morning, where neighbors later learned 2 young boys aged 7 and 12 were found deceased. Ottawa police say the children's father was later located dead in a parking lot in Kemptville, roughly 30 minutes away from here. Investigators have determined the deaths were the result of a murder-suicide. Throughout the day, neighbors gathered outside the police tape, many struggling to comprehend how such a tragedy could happen in their neighborhood.
It's horrible to hear it, for sure, you know. My heart goes out for the family. We walk by every time, you know, and come to the park right behind there. So it's, you know, and we have kids as well, so.
Just disbelief, you know, like how someone killed 2 kids.
It's crazy, man. If somebody, like, I have kids, you know, I have that feeling, you know, I cannot, you know, it's crazy.
Police have not released the identities of the victims. The investigation remains ongoing as officers try to determine what led up to the deaths. Police are expected to provide more details shortly.
A man was stabbed in Montreal downtown this afternoon. Police say the 44-year-old man is in critical condition. It happened on de la Gauchetière. Witnesses say the man was stabbed during an altercation and a woman was seen leaving the scene. So far, police have made no arrests. A man from Akwesasne has pleaded guilty to being part of a human smuggling ring. In court, Storm Delormier admitted that in March of 2023, he was part of a group that tried to smuggle 2 children and their parents into the United States. The boat capsized in the St. Lawrence. All 4 members of the family died. He faces up to 15 years in prison. The so-called forever chemicals are being found in fish in the St. Lawrence River, sometimes in high concentrations. And that could lead to new warnings about eating fish caught in local waters. Here's Angela Mackenzie.
It's not uncommon to see people fishing along the St. Lawrence River, but eating your catch can come with risks. The province monitors toxins such as mercury in freshwater fish. Now, it's also tracking the presence of PFAs, also known as forever chemicals.
They are causing concern for the health of humans.
Sébastien Sauvé is a professor in environmental chemistry at Université de Montréal. He says forever chemicals don't easily degrade and are used in everything from nonstick cookware cookware to fire retardant materials. According to a new report, they are showing up in fish in the St. Lawrence, sometimes in high concentrations.
I'm not surprised that we find PFAS in the fish from the St. Lawrence.
He says they're found in grocery store fish and most animal protein. They also accumulate in bigger fish who feed on smaller fish.
On top of that, the St. Lawrence River is a bit more contaminated because there's a lot of cities and industries that will release wastewaters that contain PFAS.
The government has guidelines for consuming fish from Quebec waters. It's broken down by species, size, and where they're located. But it factors in toxins like mercury, not PFAS. The Health Ministry says it's working on updating its recommendations to take forever chemicals into account. These recommendations aim to reduce the long-term risks associated with fish consumption while taking into account the recreational impacts and health benefits of eating fish. It adds as a precaution, pregnant and breastfeeding women should follow the province's guide to consuming freshwater sport-caught fish. Sauvé would like to see the government go further and issue recommendations for all food.
Whether it's at the grocery or whether it's something that comes from the St. Lawrence or any other river is not above the guidelines. But there aren't any guidelines for food consumption related to PFAS.
So everyone can know that what ends up on their plate is safe to eat. Angela Mackenzie, CTV News.
Canada continues to make history at the World Cup. For the first time, Canada has advanced to the round of 16. Adrian Gabriel has more.
From patriotic pandemonium on the Pacific coast to a triumphant tidal wave of emotion along the shores of Lake Ontario. Inside bars in Montreal and watch parties in Edmonton, Canada's win is quickly becoming a where were you moment in Canadian sports history.
I was watching the game a bit at my house, and then I went to my aunt's house for a bit.
There's a great patio down the street from my house.
I was watching at home.
Schaffelberg's ball into the box, headed away by Ocon. It's Eustachio!
The swift and steady right foot of Stefan Eustachio catapulting Canada to victory. The team, this World Cup, has galvanized a nation.
They did it! I'm crying.
Overcome with emotion, Canadian women's soccer legend Christine Sinclair's tears of joy offer a glimpse of what this moment means for the sport and our country.
Okay, let's book our flight.
To the round of 16 at the World Cup.
Thousands did book a flight to LA to witness history in person. Thousands more will now head to Houston. On home soil, the win for some supersedes soccer.
We're living in a time where we're rethinking what it means to be Canadian. Having cultural touchstones like soccer matches and the program succeeding like it never has before, I think that's important to us.
You guys are Canadian heroes.
Coach Jesse Marsh's pitch-side post-game speech sharing what this victory could mean.
Canadian heroes for the future children of this country who play this sport. The sport has a big future because of you guys.
If these pint-sized players on the pitch are any indication, Marsh's pep talk is on the mark.
But what do you love about soccer?
When you get a lot of good goals.
Well, I usually play defense. At my old school, soccer was like the biggest thing ever. Like, we fought over which fields we would play in. I could be a really good soccer player one day.
As the country falls in love with the beautiful game, the ties that bond a nation are pulled together.
A soccer awakening is afoot across Canada. As the men's national team elevates their game, a country is taking notice and taking to the pitch. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
And Germany is playing Paraguay today at the World Cup. We will be joining Anastasia Dextrine later in the newscast. She's at the Wonder Bar for a watch party. Well, it seems that the Grand Prix's move from June to May was good for tourism. Tourism Montreal says bookings in Montreal and Laval hotels were up more than 10% in May. There had been fears an earlier Grand Prix might have meant a drop in visitors later in the season, but Tourism Montreal says so far that wasn't the case, especially not in June.
F1 Grand Prix has moved for 3 weeks before, and we were wondering what impact it was going to have on the effervescence of Montreal. Will there be a lot of people just like in June? And our data shows that the occupancy rate in our hotels is 13% more than it was in June 2025. So there was a lot of people in Montreal in May.
But Tourism Montreal does note that the prices for hotel rooms this June were lower than they were in previous years. And David Letterman is coming to Montreal's Just for Laughs festival this year. This will be his first appearance at the comedy festival. He and Canadian actor Will Arnett will be in conversation at Place des Arts on July 21st. Letterman is now 79 years old. He's best known for his late-night talk shows that he hosted from 1982 to 2015. And coming up, the death toll is rising.
Last couple of days, we've had really strong winds, which created a lot of active fire behavior.
It is a deadly wildfire out of control along the Utah border. And there's been a mass shooting in Germany at a youth welfare facility. There was a mass shooting today in Stade, Germany. 6 people were killed at a youth welfare facility. The facility provides temporary housing for pregnant women and young mothers. Mass shootings in Germany is relatively rare, as the gun laws there are more restrictive than those in the United States. Stade is about 40 kilometers from Hamburg. 3 people have been arrested. And there are more aftershocks in Venezuela. Magnitude 4.6 struck just north of the capital, Caracas, this morning. The death toll now stands at more than 1,700. James Longman has the latest.
Thousands in Venezuela are pinning their hopes on miracle rescues this morning, but time is running out for anyone still trapped after the earthquakes that officials now call the worst natural disaster in the country's history. The U.S., one of at least 24 countries to send rescue teams, among them 86 specialist dog teams, even using small drones here to find survivors. But anger is growing at the government for being slow to act. New video shows a mother and her 18-day-old newborn pulled from underneath what remained of their apartment building in La Guera after being trapped for 32 hours, both now in stable condition. The State Department posting this video of American crews helping to pull another mother and her 9-month-old baby to safety, both somehow suffering only minor injuries. And yesterday, 4 days after that pair of powerful earthquakes struck, a father and son pulled from the rubble alive. But for every miracle, devastation. The death toll has climbed now to nearly 1,500 and over 3,000 injured. But tens of thousands are still reported missing, and hundreds of aftershocks are still jolting the region. La Guera, a coastal town, the worst hit. Thousands are still sleeping outside, worried more buildings might fall. Huge apartment buildings collapsed in seconds. Entire neighborhoods were wiped out. An estimated 58,000 buildings were damaged or destroyed across Venezuela. UNICEF says 1.8 million people need help, including nearly 700,000 children.
The focus of the relief effort is really on La Guera, which is a state about half an hour normally from where I am in Caracas, but it's taking hours to get there, hours to get out. The true level of devastation in that part of Venezuela really is not yet known. James Longman, ABC News in Caracas.
Donald Trump says Iran has agreed to stand down after an exchange of strikes near the Strait of Hormuz over the weekend. Trump says it's to resume talks, but Iranian officials say no such meetings are scheduled. Alice Barr has more from Washington.
After a weekend flare-up in fighting, President Trump posted this morning Iran requested a meeting that he says is happening tomorrow in Doha, Qatar.
Special Envoy Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be flying to Doha for high-level meetings this week. We're holding up our end of the ceasefire. Violence will be met with violence.
A source with knowledge of the talks told NBC News communication channels are in place aimed at de-escalating incidents. Multiple news outlets are reporting the two sides have agreed to pause the strikes, among them the Wall Street Journal, citing officials from the U.S. and other countries involved in negotiations. Iran has not confirmed an agreement. Vice President Vance on Friday downplayed the disruption, saying a ceasefire.
It's always going to be a little messy when you're dealing with the Iranians, but if we make the final deal, then great. If we don't make the final deal, their nuclear program is still destroyed. They're still much weaker as a country.
The two sides have been in detailed talks over the future of Iran's nuclear program following the signed Memorandum of Understanding initial agreement, though on Saturday, President Trump warned the U.S. could be forced to militarily complete the job, accusing Iran of violating the ceasefire after an attack on a ship in the Strait of Hormuz late last week. U.S. forces then fired on Iranian military targets, with Iran striking back against U.S. Gulf allies Bahrain and Kuwait. On Capitol Hill, Republicans largely backing the administration's approach.
If they strike us, we have to strike them back by 10.
As some voice concerns.
So there's a lot of work to be done, and I just fundamentally do not trust the Iranians.
With the path to lasting peace uncertain. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
The U.S. Supreme Court ruled on several cases today, from mail-in ballots to the limits of presidential power. Christiane Cordero has the details from Washington.
In a case destined to test whether President Trump can tailor the Federal Reserve to his political liking, today the Supreme Court for now said no. In a 5-4 decision, Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Brett Kavanaugh sided with their liberal colleagues in deciding Trump cannot fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook without giving her an opportunity to contest allegations of negligence predating her appointment. Cook responded in a statement, writing in part, quote, "I am grateful for this decision, not for my own sake, but for the sake of the American people, whose economic well-being depends on a central bank that answers to its mission, not political intimidation," end quote. In a separate case decided along ideological lines, the High Court said Trump is allowed to remove a Democratic member of the Federal Trade Commission purely for policy reasons, delivering the president a significant win as he attempts to reshape the federal government. Trump celebrated that win on social media before slamming another Supreme Court decision delivered today regarding mail-in ballots.
This is a ruling that says that the congressional statutes that refer to Election Day refer, in essence, to the casting of those ballots rather than the receiving of those ballots.
The case from Mississippi keeps similar laws in place nationwide, allowing mail-in ballots to be counted if they are received up to 5 days after Election Day, as long as they are postmarked on or before Election Day. Trump called the surprise 5-4 decision a tremendous loss. Mississippi's governor called on the state legislature to change its voting laws in light of the Supreme Court rejecting the Republican Party's attempt in this case to do so. Chief Justice John Roberts says tomorrow will be the final day of the term. Among the cases we expect the court to weigh in on: birthright citizenship, transgender girls playing sports, and campaign spending limits. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
There's been another close call at an American airport. The incident in Miami is just the latest that's raising concerns. Gio Benitez has more.
This morning, that record July 4th travel rush is in full swing as millions hit the roads and skies, and they started early. Last Thursday alone, nearly 3 million got on planes. This after a series of recent incidents.
Quebec Sierra, you just crossed an active runway. Hold short of A runway, A left.
You just told me to cross the runway, sir.
No, we said American 461.
The FAA now investigating this incident Friday at a Miami airport when a business jet entered the runway without authorization just as an American Airlines flight was taxiing for takeoff, the pilot hitting the brakes. In air traffic control audio, you can hear the pilot ask for clearance. Then, just moments later, this.
American 308 boarding on the runway.
American saying in a statement, "We appreciate the quick actions of our crew members and thank our customers for their understanding." The business jet company, NetJet, saying in a statement, the flight was not under NetJet's operational control at the time of the encounter. And the FAA now investigating this incident Wednesday, a Boeing 777 cargo plane making a very low pass over an airport in Texas. You can see one of the wings of the plane almost hitting the ground. Flight Radar 24 data shows the plane was just within 25 feet of the ground. The plane's owner, Jetran LLC, saying in a statement it was conducting a low-pass flight in a manner that does not reflect operational standards. Okay, so let's talk now about the best times to get on the road, especially if you're driving today, before 12 noon or after 6 p.m. You do not want to be on the road between 2 and 6 p.m. because that's when you're going to see the most congestion. And in general, all this week, keep in mind you want to be driving early in the morning or late at night to avoid that traffic. Gio Benitez, ABC News at Newark Liberty International Airport.
And coming up, 60 years of music.
Why stop? I mean, if I wasn't getting paid to do it, I'd be doing it anyway.
Bruce Cockburn is going back on the road. And there is good reason why we should go on vacation.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
Increasing number of abandoned buildings.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVMontreal.ca, your home for news.
There's extreme weather right across the United States. In Kentucky, flash floods have killed at least 4 people. 3 firefighters have died in wildfires along the Utah-Colorado border. Alex Stone reports.
It's a story of extremes across the country. In some areas, too much rain. In others, too little. And millions of Americans are bracing for dangerous heat with the 4th of July weekend approaching.
It's hot, really hot.
In Colorado, 3 federal wildland firefighters killed while battling the Knowles fire are now being identified. 38-year-old Emily Barker, 27-year-old Nick Hutcherson, and 27-year-old Sydney Watson were all assigned to a helitack crew near the Utah border when they were overcome by fire.
It's the ultimate sacrifice, and we never like to hear when that happens. We take a step back and we reassess how we're doing things, and we make sure that everybody's being as safe as possible.
Numerous wildfires are burning in several western states, fueled by widespread drought and wind. There are now states of emergency declared in Colorado and Utah.
The last couple of days, we've had really strong winds, which created a lot of active fire behavior.
But in Kentucky, it's the opposite problem: too much water.
We have been hit really hard, wiping out roads and bridges, and sadly, even taking a handful of lives.
Boom, there it went. In Murray, Kentucky, powerful floodwaters broke through a fence. At least 5 people are now dead in Kentucky and Tennessee from flooding. And more than 100 million Americans are in the path of extreme heat this week from the Midwest to the East Coast. Chicago is warning people to stay indoors and take advantage of cooling centers as the heat is beginning to set in. And back to that fire danger in Utah. Several towns, including Beaver City in southwestern Utah, are now canceling 4th of July fireworks shows because of the ongoing wildfires. They're calling on people to instead show support for the hardworking firefighters. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff's 50th anniversary gift event. Get a complete second pair and sunglasses as a gift.
Well, the extreme weather continues all around. Pierrefonds has announced that they are canceling their Canada Day parade. This is due to the flooding that happened in the area. They are saying, however, that evening festivities, are expected to carry on as of right now. Also seeing extreme heat in southern Quebec. Luckily, I am here at Wonder Bar on Saint-Hubert, sheltering with some air conditioning, some AC. You're going to want to stay close to that if you can over the next few days. We are actually also under a special weather statement issued by Environment Canada calling for high humidity. So we'll give you a look at where the temperatures are sitting right now for Greater Montreal. That's at 29 degrees at the moment, but it is feeling warmer, so feeling more like 31. We have seen higher temperatures, but not far off from that record high from 1959. That number sits at 33.3 degrees for today. Expecting once again that warm weather to continue into tonight as well. So we are forecasting a low of 20. That's along with a few clouds in the skies for tomorrow morning. We expect a wake-up temperature of 21 with sun and clouds, and then as we move into the afternoon, there could potentially be a bit of a shift in the sky. So that sun and clouds could turn over to rain. We are forecasting roughly 7 millimeters, and our futurecast is showing us that that could actually come along with some thunder showers as well. So it's looking like that rain should start at about 3 p.m. on Tuesday, and it's going to continue up until around 9 p.m. That's when it's looking like it will be at its heaviest, at its worst. You'll want to keep that in mind for sure. But for Wednesday, seeing more of those high temperatures, so into the 30s. We could have a high of 33 degrees, feeling like 44 with the humidity. Holding on to that high humidity into Thursday with some more showers to come, roughly 5 millimeters. Another thunderstorm risk that will continue, and then on Friday we could have a bit of a break. So sun and clouds is what we're forecasting for then. That would be along with a daytime high of 32 degrees, feeling more like 40. More thunder and potential showers to come on Saturday. But for now, if you have a chance, there's lots to take in. If you are a fan of the World Cup, you can head to Wonder Bar here or anywhere else for the game later on tonight.
One of Canada's most celebrated songwriters is going back on the road. It's a tour that aims to highlight 6 decades of music and protest. Here's Stéphane Giroux.
Bruce Cockburn has won 13 Juno Awards since the 1970s. He pretty much defined Canadian protest songs. Age, he says, isn't slowing him down.
My hands have become quite arthritic, and certain things are more challenging than they used to be. There's maybe a very few songs, 4 or 5 songs that I've had to revise the guitar parts of.
Cockburn made his debut on the coffee house folk circuit and evolved over time with a crafty mix of blues, jazz, rock, and folk music.
My feeling was if I ended up, playing in bus shelters for pennies, that so be it. Lucky for me, it's been better than that.
Like many artists, retirement isn't an option because songwriting is not a craft that stops at 65.
Why stop? I mean, if I wasn't getting paid to do it, I'd be doing it anyway.
Cockburn never stopped recording. He has a new album coming out this fall, and to this day, he remains active on social issues.
My voice is available when called upon, pretty much, for any good cause. As a songwriter, I can spout my own ideas and my own reactions to things.
Cockburn has always defended liberal causes, but admits the current political climate can be hostile to his ideals.
It's very disturbing, actually, to be seeing things go in that direction. One of the deplorable developments that we're witnessing is that the inability to communicate with each other in a civilized manner.
But at 81, he's proud his songs have been covered by some prestigious artists, from Jerry Garcia to Canada's own Bare Naked Ladies.
People are paying attention to the songs. That's the best part for me.
Cockburn's tour begins next month in the U.S., but will hit Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal in October. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
In Toronto, there are beavers representing 48 different countries. It's a scavenger hunt of sorts, celebrating artists and the World Cup. Heather Butts has more.
Hanging out on sidewalks, in building lobbies, and outside popular restaurants, these 4-foot-tall rodents will likely stop you in your tracks. The colorful cast of characters welcoming people to a downtown Toronto neighborhood.
See people walk by and pat it like this? Yeah.
Entertaining even for the artists who painted them. Jonas Lobo was proud to see the Portugal-inspired beaver he completed with his father on display.
It's nice to be able to get involved and to be able to showcase my pride for my Portuguese heritage and Canada.
The father-son duo, the only pair out of the dozens of artists selected to decorate these beavers, which honor the 48 countries participating in the World Cup, plus a few extras in celebration of the global event.
It was nice to bring both of our approaches to art together. We used a lot of inspiration from Portuguese blue and white tiles, which is called Portuguese azulejo.
An opportunity for the artists to work together, blending their love of culture, country, and sport.
I coached soccer for 16 years and multiple teams, and participating this way in the World Cup gives me the illusion that I'm part of the big tournament.
The sculptures were manufactured locally, then transformed. A diverse and lighthearted Canadian touch welcoming the world.
I think what I like the most is seeing people react to them.
The beavers, now part of an artistic scavenger hunt, extending the buzz of the World Cup into a different part of Canada's largest city.
The whole goal of it is to really get people to connect, to interact, and to spend time in our area and really experience what it has has to offer.
No two are alike as the artist's personality shines through their work, each with a connection to the country their beaver represents. Margaret Cresswell giving a nod to her family heritage with what she calls the kilted Canuck.
Well, of course she had to be wearing a kilt, so she's wearing a classic tartan.
The symbols of Scotland emblazoned onto the beaver, right down to thistles on the soccer ball and Nessie, the monster from Loch Ness.
I think the beaver is a symbol of strength for Canada, and I think that everyone who visits here and sees our beaver sculptures understands that we are a people of strength and from around the world.
Heather Butts, CTV News, Toronto.
And coming up, they make an amazing team.
I think it was like the largest crowd I've ever seen here. It was amazing.
A mother-daughter team is dominating a sport in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Your Health, brought to you by Gratian Scaff's 50th anniversary gift event. Get a complete second pair and sunglasses as a gift.
It seems a lot of people aren't taking full advantage of their vacations. A recent survey found that last year, 4 out of every 10 Canadians didn't use up all their vacation time. And that is actually becoming a public health concern. Dr. Christopher Lavos joins us. He is a cardiologist. Hi, Chris.
Hello, Mitz.
So what are the consequences of not taking a vacation, and why are doctors so concerned about this?
Well, there's a number of consequences. It's going to be bad for your physical health, can be bad for your mental health, right? It's going to lead to stress, chronic anxiety. It's not going to do wonders for your cardiovascular health. And ultimately, the big problem is that if it gets very, very bad, it can lead to burnout. We saw a lot of that during the pandemic. We continue to see it now. And it is a major problem, not just for the health of the individual, but it's bad for society because it impacts our economic productivity. Because when people are off work, that is not good for society at large, nor is it obviously good for the individual who is sick.
But what are we talking about when we say someone has burned out? What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, so I have like a 1-hour presentation on burnout, which I'm going to try to compress down into 30 seconds for you right here. It's a complicated concept. It's not quite the same thing as chronic stress. It's not quite the same thing as being tired, although those sort of play into it. It basically is a triad of emotional exhaustion, cynicism, and sort of feeling a lack of purpose. And sort of those 3 things together tend to contribute to the concept of burnout, which often means that you just feel tired, that you have no energy, that you just can't perform either in your job or in life. And it starts to have a very negative impact on not just your work performance, but also your relationships and your ability to function on a daily basis at home.
So when we hear people say that their nerves are shot, I mean, there really is a mental health component then to all this.
Yeah, there really is. And now we can get really into the weeds and start talking about the differences between burnout and depression and, how those things are related, but also different. But yeah, these things, this is a very real problem. It's not just about somebody being tired. It's not just about somebody not liking their job, although that is a common sentiment amongst many people. When we're talking about burnout, we're talking about a very real clinical phenomenon that really does have both a physical and mental health impact on the individual who's suffering from it.
So what effect does chronic stress have on the body?
So it can have a lot of them. I mean, the main one, the one that I sort of focus on is the cardiovascular ones for obvious reasons. So there's 2 ways in which this happens. Chronic stress can have a direct impact on the heart, as we've talked about in the past. It does seem to increase the rates of cardiovascular disease in people who have a lot of stress, whether it's work stress or home stress. But it also contributes to unhealthy lifestyle pattern. So when you're dealing with chronic stress, you're probably less likely to cook at home. So you're going to eat more junk food. You're probably not going to exercise that much because you're too stressed and too busy. So all of that feeds into the cardiovascular stuff as well. And of course, there's stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the heart. And I'll freely admit that chronic stress can lead to hair loss. It can lead to a lot of other medical problems as well. And so it's not to be taken lightly.
Well, what do you say to people, though, who say they can manage quite well without vacations? Are there really people like that, or are they just kidding, do you think?
I mean, there might be some people like that. I don't think I've ever met one. Look, we all need a break. We all need to unplug. I think also you have to realize, you know what, maybe that was true 20 years ago if you had a great job, like your job was to be a dog walker, and, you know, maybe that was a great job, right? Now we live in a very different world where we are all sort of plugged in with our phones, right? You can't very few people leave work and stop working. You're always checking your emails. You're always being called after hours. The nature of the workplace has changed. And so nowadays, you really should take advantage of that ability to unplug and get away.
And very quickly, Chris, there's also a problem with overdoing it while we go on vacation. There's something called holiday heart.
Yes, there is. So there's a very real medical condition where people who go on vacation and decide to let loose and start consuming excessive amounts of alcohol and other substances, that can actually have a direct impact on the heart. High amounts of alcohol can actually trigger arrhythmias, and this has happened so frequently and so often we've given it a name, and it's called holiday heart syndrome. So while vacations are a very good way to sort of relax and unwind, you don't want to overdo it because you might end up in the hospital with, you know, a completely different type of cardiovascular problem.
Okay. Thank you very much for this, Chris.
My pleasure. You take care.
Brendan Gallagher has been traded to the Vancouver Canucks. Gallagher spent his entire 14-season career in Montreal. Last week, he was named an honorary citizen of the city of Montreal.
Brendan Gallagher is part of the history of the Montreal Canadiens, 911 games with the Habs. During his 14-year career in Montreal, he was only left out as a healthy scratch during the last few weeks of the season because he was a great player with great character. So his legend will live for a long time in Montreal.
Felix Auger-Aliassime is now the only Canadian to advance at Wimbledon. He cruised to the second round, winning 6-3, 6-1, 6-4 over Kazakhstan's Alexander Shevchenko. Denis Shapovalov, Bianca Andreescu, and Leylah Fernandez have all been eliminated.
Business News, brought to you by Au Vieux de Louf. Generous and delicious plates all the time.
Ottawa is bringing back a popular program. It allows Canadians to retrofit their homes at no cost. Morella Fernandez has more.
There is $500 million in funding available, but currently the program will only operate in 5 provinces. It's already running in Manitoba and will soon launch in Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, Quebec, and BC. It will be available for low to medium income households, giving them the opportunity to put in extra insulation or install heat pumps to save on energy bills. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 70.41. West Texas Intermediate up over $1 to 70.75. Western Canadian Select down over $2 to 54.57. And the TSX is down 156 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Stay with us. We've got another full night of great shows for you right here tonight on CTV.
For breaking news and local news that matters to you, download the CTV News app right now by scanning the QR code on your screen using your smartphone. Or you can also go to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca.
A mother-daughter team is breaking records for running. Garrett Barry has more.
10 has become a lucky number for Newfoundland runner Kate Baisley. This weekend, her 10th victory at the 10-mile Telly 10 race, and 6 in a row now. A dominant stretch at this province's premier running event.
I think it was like the largest crowd I've ever seen here. It was amazing, the amount of people. Beautiful sunny day, and it's just so much energy, so much positivity.
And winning seems to be running in the family.
I always train hard and try not to train too much. Yeah, and I work really hard in the races.
Earlier this month, daughter Amelia Baisley ran her way into the record books, running a mile in an organized track and field event faster than any other Newfoundland and Labrador woman ever has in any division. 4 minutes and 45 seconds.
I was really happy, and I was proud of the time because it was exactly what I wanted to run.
That at just 13 years old.
I actually said a couple years ago, watching her run, to my husband, I said, I think that's the most talented runner we've had in the province. And she wasn't even running her times yet. I could just tell by her personality, by her drive, by her stride.
Kate has her own lofty goal in the crosshairs. 4 more wins on this course would give her the most out of any athlete, either male or female, in Tele 10 history.
She would pass her friend Colin Fewer, who has 13 titles on the men's side.
It's no easy feat, and I am getting a little bit older, so you never know. But yeah, no, he's a good friend. That's an amazing accomplishment he has.
The next generation at the doorstep. For now, Kate is trying to keep Amelia's training reasonable, but the skill set for a new dominant athlete out of this province is becoming obvious. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
And Anastasia, so things are heating up outside and at the Wonder Bar too.
That's right, Mitsumi. Things are feeling tense here as the Germany versus Paraguay game is officially in extra time. They're tied at 1-1 right now. It seemed like Germany had scored a goal, but then it turns out it was a foul. So people are glued to the screen still waiting to see what happens. But if you are out tonight, yes, there is heat there as well. We're looking at a temperature of 29 right now, and it's not going to get too much cooler over the course of tonight. So our low is a high one at a temperature of 20 degrees. We'll have a few clouds, and then we're looking at a high of 30 and potential showers tomorrow afternoon.
And that's it for us. Have a good evening. Stay well. Good night.